so everyone knows what Spider-Man 2 is. And if you don't, then you must just not be acquainted with web culture, and that's kind of weird. At the Game Awards, however, Spider-Man 2 got absolutely 0 awards. Now, personally, I didn't think it quite deserved Game of the Year or anything of that caliber, but 0 awards was kind of harsh. Like, they couldn't have just gave them a single one so they didn't feel bad, which is why today I decided to return to Spider-Man 2 after a few months of 0 webs coming out of me. And the challenge for today is going to be to not use webs. I'm trying to, keep up my streak. The rules go like this. You can still swing around to go from objective to objective because, for one, it's needed most of the time, and the game also requires you to swing inside of multiple levels, so it's kind of impossible not to. However, you are not allowed to use the web shooter in combat or any of the web gadgets. Basically, you have to just punch in every single fight, and you're pretty much just not allowed to press R1 at any point. So, can you beat Spider-Man 2 without using webs? The game opens with a flashback 2 years prior with Harry and Norman. What a great combo. I hope nothing bad comes from them today. Norman ends up touching Harry and infecting the poor guy with some sort of sexual disease, I think. You then flash forward to modern day and see Peter and Miles having a very awkward first day of school. Also, Peter Parker is probably going to get made fun of when teaching because he looks like Atreus from God of War. But essentially, Sandman is like busting all over the place in the city right now, and Peter is just completely clueless. I wonder if CTE exists for him also. He do be getting hit in the head a lot, so that could be bad. We then decided to suit up, and for his first mission, I just wanted to see what it would be like if you tried to run there instead of web swing. And well, it was very boring. At first, it was hype since there was like music and conversation and good tidings, but after the first kilometer, nothing happened anymore. And every time I reached my marker, it just extended hundreds more meters, and I kind of wanted to cry a little bit. Also, I found out the game doesn't let you not swing your webs, and when you get close to Sandman, it will constantly jerk you off, but like into the air. Low-key, this made the fight kind of hilarious, and I love the part where Peter got thrown into a building, somehow not taking out any other people on the way. Miles also got thrown so far, I'm shocked he didn't end up back in the colonial ages. But jokes aside, this scene alone should have gotten like a participation award, for God's sake. Just give them something. At one point, both Spider-Men ended up running up a building while Sandman's giant hands of power smashed down. And honestly, this fight didn't require too much combat to begin with. I think the majority of the real fighting just happened with his minion offspring, who constantly spawned in from the sandy depths of despair. We did get to use web wings for the first time, however, which was pretty sweet, and the fight ends once you ultra charge up Peter's like arms or something and somehow don't restart his heart in the process. Also, how the hell are they going to clean up that mess? No, like seriously, do they have a construction plan? Like, that's kind of crazy. You also get to see Kraven, who is the game's initial main villain, we will say. Anyways, literally the next hour of gameplay for this game is just full of random tasks helping out the city because it's in ruin now. That's what I call fun. But the fun got even worse when MJ showed up. What have they done to my girl? Also, since she is so ugly, her face broke my other recording that was going on for over an hour, so we missed quite a few missions and more helping out the city. I know. A tragedy. But we picked up again with Peter and Harry at their foundation that Norman made for them, since he is a rich bastard and has nothing else to spend money on. Also, why is every single employee a short-haired woman? What is going on? You don't have to fight in this mission, so let's skip to the next one where this challenge video actually takes place. Oh my god, he's littering! Spider-Man really wouldn't have found these villains if not for simple trash being thrown. Truly an Avengers level threat. Okay, so we finally get to go fight people again. It's about time. This combat sequence also showed me how annoying those flying enemies are, because you can't web them down, so you have to do acrobatics to get them. After all the enemies got head trauma, we then inspected the console nearby, and Peter straight up just activated the drone, and it began a journey of its own. I chased after it like a good Samaritan, and also experimented into what would happen if you just run after it. I found out the game doesn't let it get away from you, and it at points just freezes so you can catch up. Now that's a challenge. But it does lead you to another enemy base, and inside is a whopping total of like 4 enemies who don't have anything special about them at all. And it's obviously very easy to take them out with nothing besides pure testosterone. Peter also inserted his hand into the drone's hole. Never a good idea. And it took away in fear before he could break it and then fall to his demise. Oh, but thankfully the game reminded us of simple movement so he didn't die. There was also a mission where we got introduced into the optional stealth for this game, but MJ's face was on my screen the whole time, and I can't bear to make this video with that thing on there. Later on in this place though, there was a load of enemies, and I felt bad doing stealth because I hadn't yet punched enough people in my mind, so I subjected myself to lots of torture. Also, I for some reason had the hardest time ever trying to kill these enemies who are propped up on these pillars. Like, you literally cannot web zip to them or even swing, for God's sake. And I'm pretty positive the best way would be to, use the web shooters and web them up, but that's illegal. So yeah, I actually almost visited Aunt May, however, I was fine. Peter was then hacking into stepsis.com and a robot dog sneaked up behind him. We then had to fight a horde of robot dogs. And let's just say, punching them hurts my hand and I actually did die. This is crazy. But you know what's crazier than that? Dying twice to the same dog. Now that's crazy. So Peter ended up finishing snooping around after the combat section and found out Black Cat, his former bad booty bitch, is next on Kraven's hit list. The game then swapped to Miles and I saw he wasn't in spider gear, meaning he probably had a cutscene with his dumb side characters coming up, so I immediately skipped because that's trash. Ah, thank God, he is in the latex now so we can play safely. Alright, we finally get to use Miles in combat since like the beginning of the game. And after replaying this, it's kind of funny how little you use him in the game. And honestly, most of the missions you play as Miles are all sort of dumb, but this one was kind of cool, and after taking out all of those enemies right there, the Black Cat shows up. No wonder MJ is jealous, god damn. At the final combat section of this level, it actually starts to get somewhat hard because they brought in everybody, and I mean everybody. Also, those like tank cars with the turrets on them were actually cancer, made me want to cry. The game quite literally tells you directly to use the web shooters on them, but we can't obviously, so I had to wait until perfectly dodging it to get the option to pull them off. Now that's science. And this is the next mission. Okay, maybe this game didn't deserve any awards after all. Oh, and it was followed with this. Yeah, okay, I'm sure now. Those horrible missions did lead up to this orgasmic conclusion, however, where Harry used his full power and became Venom, I guess. Also, he hasn't quite figured out the whole mask thing, but he might get there before dying, who knows. Next mission had Peter infiltrating another enemy base, and we punched a lot of people, like more than usual. It was great. After that, a door opened and some menacing man walked in, but what's more menacing is Harry. I'm just kidding. What the hell is that suit? Bro looks like the base skin in a Call of Duty game, or even better, an 800 V-Bucks Fortnite cosmetic. I gotta give it to Harry though. He is low-key overpowered, and I could really tell Peter was starting to get a little bit jealous. Not only did Harry get stronger, he also got to turn black. So the objective for this all was to actually save Tombstone, who was that dehydrated man that was trying to get in with MJ from the first Spider-Man game. And by the end of this great saving effort, the entire place was on fire, and I found out it was actually easiest to just not fight the enemies and ignore them like your father has ignored you your whole life. Harry and Peter also had a post-game party, and Harry's suit tried to crawl inside of me. Kind of weird. But what's even weirder is the man straight up copying Spider-Man's style. Low-key cringe move. Oh hey, we get to play as Miles now. I wonder what he'll get up to. Oh, he's stopping instrument thieves. Wow, that's life-changing right there. Oh my god! After that, we also got to do the first MJ mission of the game. Now, these got a bad rap in the original game because they were so boring. But in this game, they gave her the literal god weapon that can consistently one-shot every single enemy that it comes in contact with. I seriously don't know who made this gun, but they should be given a raise because it is extremely overpowered. Yeah, so this whole mission's premise is she is saving Dr. Connors, or the Lizard Man, but she gets caught and then you play as the Webman himself once more. You then get to fight a ton, like a ton. But this was one of the most annoying fights in the game since they introduced these rocket barrage enemies who just unload everything on you in a non-consensual way. Also, Peter ended up getting totally owned by Kraven, and MJ had to help him walk to safety as he quite literally did die. But as we all know, the Venom suit just went on to Peter and brought him back from Uncle Ben's house. Oh, and look, Alan Wake installed, hell yeah. Anyways, you get to use the Venom powers for the rest of the mission, and it's just not fair. Like, I feel bad for the enemies' families because John isn't coming home. Now, you might be wondering what the first use of this brand new game-changing suit is gonna be. Well, it's not to stop Kraven, or even end world hunger, but instead, you save a single dock worker and bring him to the hospital. Godspeed. Also, Peter got a job as a waiter, and he screwed it up instantly, but he did the thing, oh my god! Also, somehow he made a noise while silently crawling around, and this big-ass dude heard it. He then threw Peter through a wall, which was cool. And now we get to fight till our web shooter is content. I should also say that this no web shooter challenge isn't necessarily hard in terms of difficulty, it's more just extremely annoying. My poor square button on my controller has been abused in the past few hours, and I kind of feel bad for the guy. But we did get our first kind of boss fight on this mission, and it was a lot easier than I had expected it to be. This is mostly because this enemy you can parry very easily and effectively. Also, in normal gameplay, you can't web him to begin with, I don't think, so that really didn't change how the fight could have gone. Anyways, Kraven ended up grasping my neck tightly, and I got so scared. This relationship is moving way too fast, so I ran away back home to MJ, who could be my husband for all I know. Look at that face. We ended up at the Foundation next to try and make a cure for the lizard, but Kraven really had to send his army there. No, I don't usually care for acts of war, but come on. How are you gonna destroy a foundation made in honor of 2 dead moms? That's just wrong. The place also caught completely on fire and is now pretty much ruined. Norman, however, came down from the heavens to save us. He also didn't care about the fire. I don't care about that. Why does nobody care? Look at it. That's what I'm saying. Oh, hey, look, we play as Miles now. I can't wait to do a high action mission. I'm starting to feel bad. This is not very representative for the black community. But what does he do in his free time, I wonder? Oh, he talks to a deaf girl. Wait, how the Hey, look, we made it to the mission from that one trailer, which is the only trailer I ever watched for Spider-Man 2. Yeah, so this mission is super cool, which is probably why they made a trailer about it. But we only care about the boss fight since it's the first one with multiple stages represented by little circles on the top of the screen. And honestly, these multi-stage fights are the only point where this no-web challenge begins to get hard. You have to just constantly punch and punch and punch. And try not to also get too close because this guy has got to have a disease. I refuse to believe he doesn't. After the second stage of fighting with the lizard, however, you go above ground, come out of the closet if you will, and have to chase him down until fighting him again in a near identical location as the first fight. Someone at Insomniac definitely got bored with these fight stages and had to put that in. Anyways, by the end of the fight, you get the lizard in a good position and you just insert it. He is now cured. Epic MJ mission, yes! Okay, anyways, Miles gets screen time now, and dude, this combat sequence was the longest in the entire game, I swear. Yeah, I just punched people for an hour with no end in sight. And well, I guess that was supposed to happen since Miles got captured by these people anyway. But it wasn't to put him in a spider sex dungeon or anything. No. Instead, we just fight Mr. Lee from the first Spider-Man game. This boss fight was somewhat challenging though because he has a lot of moves that can't really be countered with our playstyle. But of course, they had to. They just had to make us go inside of one of those mine things. I hate these so much, bro. It's not even funny. Long story short, Lee got out and Miles didn't because he needs some sort of character development if they ever want to get a sequel for him. So Peter obviously has to save Miles now, and this is where we just get consistent boss fights and lots of action. So, as you can assume, a lot of punching indeed. And even kicking, as a matter of fact. But of course, Kraven has to go and pull out the bell card and ruin the action. It's not my fault I have sensitive ears, God! Also, you are supposed to use the web shooters to stop the bell one time because if you don't, you can't hit Kraven since he runs away from you constantly and just grabs you. I obviously didn't do that, and it's really weird how sticky white substances just appear in the bell out of nowhere. Yeah, so Kraven was trying to squeeze Peter's head in, which is kind of a weird kill tactic, and the Venom had time to take over Peter fully, and we were so close to killing Kraven. Miles had to show up though. But hey, at least we got to play as Miles once more, and the two Spider-Men had an actually kind of short fight as a matter of fact. I also didn't want to take the suit off and tried to not press square, but they made me. How the hell did he swoop that in so fast though? God almighty. Oh yeah, Harry is crippled now, but he touched the black sludge and became Big Boy Venom. Anyways, there isn't even webs with Venom obviously, so this fight sequence was super simple and ended with us battling Kraven and infamously having Venom bite his head off. Iconic. Yeah, so Harry then begins his world domination arc, and he ended up infecting MJ in Aunt May's home. How dare he? That is crossing at least 2 moral lines. So you get to fight MJ at last. I mean, I don't speak for everyone, but I do speak for myself, and I will say I have been waiting for this moment since starting up the game. Also, this fight had like a load of stages, and I swear the entire time MJ and Peter were just having relationship problems. Like, this fight was honestly just a good therapy session with property damage added on. But that jawline, Jesus Christ. We also did some more mind missions with Miles, which was stupid. But it gave Peter the anti-venom suit, which is cool, I guess. Even with this suit though, those venom enemies in the game still take like 20 punches to kill, which is just ridiculous. Even more ridiculous though is that MJ can 1 or 2 shot them with her gun. Why not implement that into the suit or something? Like, come on. So the last boss fight for the game is of course with Venom. However, it was actually moderately a challenge because he has stages where you need to charge up those things in the left hand corner and cannot do damage to him until that point, which makes it very hard to punch your way through enemies solely, and I almost died a few times. But that was about the only challenge in this fight. And the end of the fight didn't even have much combat, it just had some of those cool trigger things which make me feel like kind of weird at the same time. All in all, Harry ended up in a coma once more, and Norman needs a new window now after he smashed a cane into it. What a game. Alright, we made it. And in conclusion, I can confidently say that no, you cannot beat Spider-Man 2 without shooting webs. But we all knew that from the start. It's the journey we went on to get here that mattered the most. If you're still watching, however, and haven't yet touched that like and subscribe button, you should also do that, or else MJ will show up in your house at night. But what if you're into that? Okay.